You make your way down to the cabin. Your fated confrontation awaits. You know what to do. So, we need a plan. We've been over the plan. Goad her out of the shadows. Make her show herself. And what if she doesn't want to be seen? We'll figure out a way to make it happen. And if that doesn't make her any easier to find, it will. It's always easier to fight what you can see, no matter how big or toothy she might be. She spent as much time as she could in the shadows, so we're gonna draw her out. But she's fast, and she's clever. We're clever too, so this time we're not gonna let her cut off our escape. We're gonna lead her to the stairs ourselves. It'll be a lot easier to deal with her once we can actually see what she is. But you already know what she is. She's a princess. Yeah, right. A princess we couldn't see, and one that had big, sharp teeth too. How about you stick to describing things and we'll stick to doing our job? Sharp teeth? The interior is dark and overgrown. Vines and brush obscure so much of the place that, had you not seen the exterior, you might not have noticed this was a cabin at all. The only furniture of note, if you could call it that, is a knotted stump, a pristine blade embedded in its exposed rings. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. If there's a way forward, that mirror is blocking it off. What are you talking about? There is no mirror. There's just the stump and a narrow tunnel that leads to the basement. He isn't tricking us. Can you feel the wind? It's telling us there's a hole in that wall. Our eyes deceive us. Then either way, we need to investigate. Might as well get started. You really think being unarmed is best? I hope you know what you're doing, but let's not forget that it's up here if things go south. The steel claw makes us sloppy, too confident. We'll be faster without it. You step forward, approaching the small hole that leads to the basement, hesitating before you enter the princess's lair. Haven't you been paying attention? We're not hesitating. This supposed hole is blocked by that old mirror. That mirror isn't part of this place. It's seeped through from somewhere else. It, if there even is an it, is a hallucination. Like you said, you've been here twice before. Your mind was bound to start playing tricks on you eventually. It's so grimy. Maybe we can wipe it clean and finally get a look at ourselves. reach forward and wave your hand over the open hole leading to the basement. See? Nothing. Tricks of the eye. No one sense can be trusted on its own. You step forward into the darkness. If there were once stairs leading into the basement, there is nothing left to attest to their existence now. There is only a long tunnel of packed earth, growing more narrow as you descend. It smells of mold and decay. The damp walls leave streaks of dirt along your body as you're forced to hunch, then finally squat down on all fours in order to continue. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. As you crawl forward on hands and knees, you're met only with the sounds of ambient earth. No voice slinks confidently up the stairs, no entity threatens violence or pleads for safety. Stay quiet. Don't give her a sound. You say nothing, maintaining the silence as you carefully make your way down into the basement. The basement is dark and cavernous, a gaping maw threatening to swallow you whole. There is no light here, save for what little starlight has managed to filter down the tunnel. And though you can't see the vastness of the space, you can feel it. You're exposed. Stay on your toes. We take a step into the shadows, and as soon as she moves, we jump back, make her follow. From there, we trap her in the tunnel, draw her out of the cabin, whatever it takes to get her out of her element. Then we're safe. You step into the shadows and are enveloped in total darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest, ears pricked, eyes wide despite the inky blackness, waiting for any sign of movement. That's right. Keep steady. Don't let your nerves get the better of you. There, she's about to strike. With the near silence of a determined predator, the princess erupts from the shadows. But you've already started your swift escape. That's stage one. Now stay focused. You dive into the tunnel and begin scrambling up towards the cabin. You hear her behind you, claws raking at the dirt, chains rattling, then snapping, breaths hot and heavy with the effort of the ascent. But the sounds are coming slower now, the breaths pained and stuttering. You no longer sense frantic motion behind you in the tunnel. You risk a glance. She is a broad and sickly creature, her withered and emaciated flesh clinging to bones too large to fit in the narrow space. She managed to squirm her way into the tunnel in pursuit, but now she's stuck, incapable of either moving towards you or returning to the open darkness of the basement below. So that's what she's become. She wasn't like this when we started. Was she? No, she wasn't. Looking at her makes me feel sad. Yeah, Now that we can see her, she doesn't feel like much of a threat at all.
She paws futilely at the air between you, but her shoulders are pinned in the narrow confines of the opening. She has no hope of reaching you. And she realizes this. Her arm goes limp, flopping to the dirt floor of the tunnel, and her eyes fall from yours, defeated. Her eyes look up at yours, wide, pleading. Come back, you can imagine them saying. Don't leave me here. But you shouldn't listen to the sad eyes of a vanquished enemy. She wants nothing more than to change places with you. If you want us to ignore her, then why would you tell us any of that wide, pleasing eyes begging for mercy business to begin with? All it does is make us feel conflicted. I'm merely describing things as they are. It's not my fault that her eyes had something to say, even if that something was a ploy, which, if I might stress, I pointed out to you. What should we do about her anyway? Can she still end the world like this? She hurts. We should help.
Now let's think for a second. Let's reevaluate. Should we help her?
Well, I do feel bad looking at her.
There's no way to get close without being in reach of those claws. We've come this far, but can we trust a creature that until a few short moments ago fully intended to eat us?
What an excellent question with an equally excellent answer. No, you should not help her. She's clearly just waiting for you to drop your guard. Beyond that, you do well to remember that she poses a threat to reality itself. She is stuck, and you abandoned a perfectly usable weapon right behind you. How about you turn around, get the blade, and end this once and for all?
What are you doing? We could all just turn around and be done. What's your game?
You and I both know there's no game. He's made a bad choice. As you draw near, she readies her claws, raising them to strike. Don't flinch. Show her our resolve. Reach forward, offering the princess your hand. How ridiculous. She was about to kill you. Do you really think getting stuck in a tunnel for less than a minute has fundamentally changed her? Yes, she's a victim of her own nature, just like we are. If all she wanted was to kill us, she'd have kept trying. But she's hesitating, isn't she? Yes, she is. Her eyes shift from faux ferocity to confusion to a gentle sadness. She lowers her claw and places it in your hand. Ugh. Do you think we can pull her out of there? We have to try. It's a bad death being stuck in place.
And what if it doesn't work? What if we can't trust her?
We have to trust someone else eventually. It's either him or her, and I know you don't trust him.
I don't even trust the rest of you, but that doesn't mean we have to go around pulling bloodthirsty monsters out of perfectly good traps.
But we haven't seen what happens if we help her. Doesn't that mean it's worth exploring?
I can't argue with that. Alright, let's see what happens. Maybe we'll finally get some answers.
You tug, but the princess remains stuck. What a shame that the bones of her massive form are too large to fit through the narrow tunnel. Keep pulling. All he has are empty words. He can't undermine us if we don't listen. You are all infuriating to work with. But fine, you continue to pull on the princess's arm and she starts to budge. She pushes with her back legs, clawing at the earth, a burst of strength aiding your efforts. The dirt and stone start to crumble around her.
That's the spirit. Keep going. Yes, quickly, before the whole tunnel comes down on top of us.
Yes, wouldn't that be an interesting development? What if the very nature of this tunnel was such that you were incapable of leaving safely with the princess? How devious. Does it collapse? Yes, it does. As you pull the princess free, the tunnel around you does exactly what you thought it might do. It falls apart. Trapped. No, we have to get out. We have to get out. It's too late to scramble for freedom now, little voice. You didn't think just pulling her out of there would be consequence-free, did you? Well, the ceiling collapses, heavy stones tumbling down on top of you and the princess, and I don't believe it. Let me guess. Everything goes dark, and we die. No, not yet. You open your eyes to see the princess, her body stretched over yours, her face wincing as she shields you from the heavy rocks and debris. There is space enough for you to move, at least for now.
I'll be damned. So there's more to her after all.
The pack is always stronger than the lone hunter. We save her, she saves us. She understands. Well, you can't keep saving each other forever. Her arms are already starting to give out, and there's a whole mountain of earth on top of her, just waiting to bury you both. We can always dig, both of us.
It beats suffocating to death down here in the dark.
Then let's do it. You and the princess dig through the loose earth of the collapsed tunnel together. How sweet. But it seems the harder you try to claw your way forward, the denser the path becomes. All of this effort, and for what? A chance to end the world? I hope you fail. His words are nothing. Pay attention to what you feel and see. It doesn't matter if you ignore me, because I'm just telling you what's happening, and what's happening is that you and the princess are getting tired, and your mouths are full of dirt, and it's getting harder to breathe.
Harder to breathe is still breathing.
Well, either way, the two of you are miserable. I don't know. I feel like we're forming a bond with her. Can't be all that bad if we're bonding. She's not capable of bonding. Need I remind you that as soon as she saw you, she tried to eat you? You are not friends, and as soon as you're out, you'll see just how seriously she values your life.
If you were so sure we were going to fail, you wouldn't sound so desperate. You're just hot air. There's nothing of substance to you at all, is there?
I have plenty of substance. I have feelings and desires. Like my desire to save everyone in the world. I feel that very strongly. Do you smell it? Fresh air. With one final massive heave of her body, the princess pushes her way out of the tunnel, leaving you behind in the quickly collapsing space you once shared. Yours was an alliance of convenience, just as I predicted. She has left you to die, buried and alone. You are unbelievably petty. Oh, my pettiness is nothing compared to yours. You were delighting in my suffering and the damnation of the entire world just moments ago. She hasn't left. She's coming back. Don't you hear her? No, she isn't. She's...
How many times do you have to be wrong before you stop talking?
The princess stares down at you from the opening. Before the tunnel can finish sealing itself, she cranes her elongated neck and gently plucks you from the earth. She carries you across the half-collapsed ruin that was a cabin, carefully setting you down by the door. If there were to be a record, let it show that I tried. I really, really tried. But there won't be a record, will there? You open the door, the two of you stepping out into the fresh air and collapsing together onto the dewy grass of the outside world.
Ha! We're outside, and there's ground beneath our feet. I don't see any oblivion. Admit it, there never was an end of the world coming, was there?
Yeah, we got him there, didn't we? Don't think I've ever seen him stunned into silence before. Can't you feel the hole where he was? He's gone. Can't see that. I'm not sure gone is good. She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Oh, there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. That thing reeks of death.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. This one is consumed by instinct, a dancer moving to the rhythm of the flesh. She will make for a ravenous heart. She wishes me to devour you, to make you a part of myself, but she is only a voice. Do not mourn her, for she is part of something greater. My perspectives are shadowed. You have seen what I have seen, just as I have seen what you have seen. The angles of my vantage do not offer me hidden truths. and my attention is turned inward, except when you are here with me. Perhaps this will change when our work is done. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. Your silence is deafening. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. there's always a choice. Let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who's ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes, glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves. But as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction, there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of paths and cabins desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be.
Wait, what's going on?
But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness, but it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
You have already committed to my completion. You cannot go further astray.
a warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
If we're stuck going in there, maybe we should believe her. Maybe she isn't a liar.
Ignore him. He's just being difficult for the sake of it. Let's keep an open mind. The cabin interior is wrong. A confusing patchwork of many cabin interiors, all projected across what's almost the same space. But it's all shifted. An inch here, a foot there, such that the seams are never quite visible enough for the place to make any sense. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths, its material devoid of feature. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
If he wants us to take it, maybe we should just leave it to collect dust. Or better yet, grab it and throw it out the window. What good is a knife against a world-ending monstrosity anyway?
No, we're taking the knife. Have you seen this place? We have literally no idea what to expect and no idea what we're dealing with. I've already told you what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a princess. How many times do I have to explain this incredibly simple and straightforward premise? You can't just say that, but when everything here is so wrong. Listen to me. My job is to describe facts as facts and to guide you through your job, which is to slay the princess and through that action, save the entire world. And if you're going to slay her, you cannot let fear creep into your heart. You cannot lose yourself before you even get to her.
Oh, ho, ho, ho! You've piqued my interest. What's going to happen if we lose ourselves?
Nothing, because you're going to pull yourself together. Just ignore the stressful geometry and stay calm. How? Even if we closed our eyes, you're constantly describing it to us. I'm not going to stop doing my job, so you're just going to have to get better at yours. And quickly, if you don't mind.
Yes, take a deep breath. I'm all for getting under his skin, but we'll miss out on loads of fun if we shrivel up into a ball and go insane the first time we see something weird. What you're seeing here is obviously real. Just accept it and go with the flow. It really isn't hard.
Okay, I'm fine.
Good. Now, whenever you're ready, we're all waiting for you to complete a very important task.
You take the blade from the table. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Okay, fine, you took the knife, but you really shouldn't hold it like that. Then how are we supposed to hold it? The other way, thumb at the bottom. Will look much cooler and more serious if we hold it with our thumb at the bottom. It really doesn't matter how you hold the blade, as long as you have it. Just make a choice. You switch your grip on the blade. Congratulations. Yes! Isn't this so much better? Okay, fine. You're right. This does look a lot better. It really doesn't matter. Just get on with it and deal with the princess already. Yes! Do it! Seriously. You throw the blade at the window, glass showering the cabin as your weapon flies out into the night. I suppose you'll just have to deal with the princess without it. We'll be fine, don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen? The world ends? Oh well. If the princess wasn't going to do it, the heat death of the universe was going to come for it eventually. I'm not so sure. This place is already messing with my head. It would be much better if we had a weapon. What's done is done. Good luck, hero. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. Nothing here seems to belong, and the closer you examine your surroundings, the more confused you get, your head throbbing with the effort of making sense of this place. None of the stairs even seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost sludge-like miasma to it, the kind of indiscernible quality that comes from the blending together of every scent there is at once. An odour that is simultaneously everything and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a disquieting collage of tone and personality, drags up the stairs.
Hello? Hi. What are you doing here? Are you here to kill?
No, thank you. Oh, don't be such a baby. I don't want to do this. Let's just turn around and leave. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like whatever we do, we're gonna die. We don't even have a weapon. But we already tried turning around and leaving, didn't we? And he threw up a wall. No way to go but forward. And whatever choice we make, whatever she is, we know one thing for sure. And what's that? That the fate of the world hinges on your success? There'll still be plenty of ways to ruin his day. You step to the right. The path feels soft and reassuring against your feet. The stairs almost seem to cradle you as you make your way down, like they're guiding your heels from one step directly to the next. You barely have to extend any effort to descend, the stairway doing most of the work for you. You don't feel like there's any concern that you might slip or tumble or lose your way. But the further you go, the deeper you sink in. First, it's like a lovely plush carpet, your toes digging down and barely hitting any resistance at all. But soon enough, you're fighting just to keep your knees from sinking out of sight. The softness threatens to swallow you whole, to wrest control of your body and surround you in a false ethereal bliss, pretending to save you from the cruelties of choice and consequence. It's slow going, but you manage to fight against the overwhelming urge to fall back into comfort and nothingness, the very struggle to continue forward consuming your every thought. You slowly lose sense of yourself the further you go. Time disappears, and you can feel yourself begin to untether. Physical sensations dull and then vanish, until the only things experienced are the endless repeating patterns and emotions of the journey, a continuous march forward to a destination long forgotten. Consumption and betrayal, skepticism and blind devotion, rivalry and submission, terror and longing, pain and unfamiliarity. And at the heart of it all, an emotion that can only be described as
Are you okay?
What the hell was that? What happened to us? I feel so strange. Like I'm fundamentally different, but also still the same person I was at the top of the stairs. Oh well, that was a trip, but now it's over. Time to get back to our old devilish ways. The princess, eyes bright but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. Don't forget why you're here. And, why are we here again? In case you weren't listening, I'm afraid I lost myself on the way down. You're here to... He's just being an ass, we remember. Though I'm still not sure if we should trust you. Let's talk to her for a bit, try and get our bearings. She seems... normal.
I don't know what happened to you, but you look like you're in one piece now. But I understand. Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled apart too. It's so terrifying down here. But at least now you're not alone. And I'm not alone either. We're probably stuck down here forever, aren't we? There's no way out, and barely a way in.
As the princess speaks again, it's almost as if she fractures. And where there was once just one of her, there is now another. We can do that? I don't like this. It's those cabins all over again. Can we put her back? Again? Have you been here before? Should we tell him? Nah, let him stew. Right, I'm telling him. Yeah, we've been here before, but we never went to the cabin. We just turned around and left until... It's hard to describe. Until the only thing we could see was the same cabin going on forever. And then you told us that the world ended and we died. And then we woke up, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with all the rest of it. It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality. But what's done is done, isn't it? Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them. If it's not already too late. You have a job to do here, and you need to do it now. Ooh, new plan. Let's see if we can make even more of her.
You can call me Princess, if you'd like. It doesn't matter. I've been down here for so long. What's the point of a name if there's no one around to use it? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. You don't think I'm some sort of monster, do you?
Everything you've heard about me is true, and I'm going to lay waste to everything, starting with you.
I don't think we're going to be able to put her back. Kind of hurts to think about it, doesn't it? It's like everything we say just multiplies her. It certainly looks that way, so please, for the love of everything, stop asking her questions and stop stalling. You're obviously just making things worse.
Are you looking for the truth? Or are you looking for the right answer? What do you want me to say? That I'd be a good person? Besides,
You already know what I'm going to do.
If you want to put an end to me, then put an end to me.
Not a single real answer. At least aside from Miss Blood and Destruction, it's infuriating, isn't it? Whose buttons are there for us to press? Whose skin is there for us to get under? Not exactly how I'd put it, but I don't disagree. There must be something we can do. Asking questions just seems to make things worse. Okay, this was fun for a bit, but we can't even really interact with her, can we? What's the point of asking questions if all we're going to get is a million answers? Can't even follow what's going on anymore. We need to get out of here. This whole place is making me itch.
Do you need help? Not that there's much I can do chained up like this, but I'm the only one down here. So if you need anything, I'll do my best. I don't feel like I've gotten any bigger. It must be fear creeping into your heart.
You know you can't stop me.
There must be something wrong with you. I'm the same as I was a moment ago.
She fractures again. I don't like where this is going. Neither do I. which is why you need to slay her now before things get more complicated than they already are. How would we even do that? Where would we start? Could always start by retrieving the blade. The one he made us throw out. And that option is slaying her. Just do something. Do anything. Do all of it, if that's what you want. This place is hell, and it's only getting worse. Wait, that's not right. Go on. You take a step forward. Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread, a confident stride. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hands. All at once you use it to strike at her bindings as you remain upstairs and slay her and leave her to languish alone. Is this what the end of the world looks like? What an unbearable mess. But this... we can't... Do you not have anything witty to say? I could use a good bit of wit right now. No, I don't, because this isn't fun. How are we supposed to have fun if everything is happening at the same time? It's the same as nothing happening, and nothing is excruciating. Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world and the princess collapse in on themselves before it all falls apart. I think he's gone. We were never going to salvage this, were we?
What happened to us? What are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and others, they just don't fit. They just don't fit. We can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong. It's all so uncomfortable. Did you do this? Did we do this? Can you pull us back apart? Can you fix us?
We should help her. I think we did this. How surprisingly sincere. I didn't actually think our actions had consequences. It's a little late for regret, isn't it?
Please.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now? This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. Yeah, don't look at it. I don't like that thing.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. We're supposed to be there. Do you know what we'll find out there? There is a warmth and sadness in me at the thought of people, fresh tears on a winter's day, They are not like us. They do not last. These ones are a contradiction, a winding kaleidoscope of paths unwalked. They are stretched into a shape not unlike me, but it is a shape they cannot hold. They will make for a rich and vibrant heart. Do not mourn them, for they will finally get to know themselves.